Hey, how's it going? It's Tyler Walton from Tyler Walton Music, and I am back again today with episode 4 of this new production series detailing the production of the album Abstract Mind Attack by the band Crystal Myth. And today we're going to talk about the next track, which is called Mr. Larry. It's got a really cool chugging feel to it, and we're going to jump right into it. If you haven't seen the first 3 episodes, they're going to be linked below in the description, and they'll also be in the playlist. Please check those out as well. For this one, just because the production at this point was pretty dialed in, spare for a couple of small things, I really just want to focus on all the automation work that we can really see here. So this episode is probably going to be a little bit shorter compared to the other 3, but it's still there's still a lot to take from this. We did a lot more volume gates, as you can kind of see on the screen here, and then we had to do some boosting and cutting. Specifically for like the guitar solo and stuff, because there's some really harsh frequencies that were kind of poking through with the volume being where it was at. So again, if you haven't seen the first 3 episodes, please go back, check those out before you come to this one, because then in those 3 we're really going to the weeds on the production, specifically the first episode for the title track Abstract Mind Attack. But enough of that, let's just jump right into this. I'm going to let this play out a little bit, and then we're going to get this thing going. So let me just bump this to right here, and then here we go.
Mr. Larry, Mr. Larry, Elliot, can I see you cry? Mr. Larry, Mr. Larry, Elliot, can I see you cry? Mr. Larry, Mr. Larry, Elliot, can you wave goodbye? So Mr. Larry, I'm so sorry I didn't. I tried to find my answers when I'm drowning in the tide. She was just curious. She was mischievous. Never letting on the facts of seduction. You just can't stop the learning production. Mr. Larry, well, I'm so sorry. Mr. Larry, well, I'm so sorry. Mr. Larry, will you just let me explain? We're not just riding through the rain. She was just obvious. She was oblivious. Never let.
Okay, so you can really hear where we do like the volume cutting, like the automation, especially like right up here where the vocal parts are in. So like this right here.
Facts of seduction. You just can't stop the learning production.
So we tried doing a bunch of different things because we wanted like those vocal parts to be isolated by themselves, but with the nature of the recording, of the original recording, we got a lot of like clicking and feedback and all that kind of stuff from like the pickups and the mics and all that stuff. So we just resolved to doing the like the hard volume drops, as you can see here, just like we did in Crazies, or I'm sorry, in Our Hands. So this guitar solo up here isn't so bad as the one up here, but we still had some really harsh frequencies coming through. So let's just go ahead and solo this, and then I'll open up the EQ so we can look into that, see what's going on there. See, we're really squashing it now. We're really squashing it down. So let's go ahead and wind that back. Cut this off. there's a lot of so that actually that delay is not even on the track. Actually, yes, it is. I'm looking at the wrong one. Look at that. It's this one right here. Let's go back to this one. I had the wrong EQ opened up. My apologies. That's unprofessional. All right, now let's look back at this. Yeah, so this peak right here. Do that. Yeah, so let's drop this up to let's just put this back at unity gain and listen to it again. It was at -5. A little harder on the ears. Not too bad compared to the other one that's coming up later on toward the end of the song. But that, I mean, at high volumes, that's going to be fatiguing on the ears. And this kind of music is, played at a high volume. The drums, we did the same thing at the gates at the drums and all that stuff. The bass actually wasn't touched all that too much. There's this cool bass part coming up that overtakes most things. Right here. So, yeah, I really like the Faith No More influence in that riff. Like, that's the one thing about this band that I really appreciate is they wear their influences on their sleeves, whether it's, the big four of thrash, Faith No More, and that riff. That was a very Mike Patton-y kind of riff to that. And with the bass line right here leading into it, we really wanted that bass to kind of stand out. So, obviously, it's soloed right here for the most part, but when it comes back in, you can still feel the bass. Let's listen to the voice.
Mr. Larry, like trying to replace what's been taken. Mr. Larry, well, it's not a soul I've forsaken. Mr. Larry, well, lending time in an innocent mind. Mr. Larry, well, if it wouldn't have been me, well, it would have been someone else.
Then we go into this really cool riff, and then I'm going to play it through the guitar solo. Then we're going to look at the guitar solo isolated by itself so we can look at what's going on there. Because as you can see, there's a pretty steep drop in volume. But before we do that, we had to really play with these vocals a lot. As you can kind of see, there's a lot of very small, minute changes throughout. And it's because the backing tracks on this one in particular were very inconsistent, with the recording. Some were really loud, some were really quiet, so why you see, this drop from, -10 to -12, -11, -10, this is kind of in the ballpark region, and how this number and these numbers aren't the same. Likewise up here, these are pretty close. This is pretty close too. Is because we were trying to standardize everything to kind of match with the main vocal stem. So we wanted the harmonies and the gang vocals to kind of sound unique. They weren't layered harmonies, but they would stand out by themselves. But at the same time, there was just some weird inconsistencies with converting from tape to wave, and it probably stems from just the inconsistency with the recording. Not saying that the band was inconsistent, but just there's a whole litany of factors that could play into why, him screaming Mr. Larry on one take was way hotter than him screaming Mr. Mr. Larry on a different take, whether there was something going on in the room, maybe he was doing it live with the band in like an ISO booth within the garage. If they made an ISO booth, I haven't asked Eric that yet. He didn't clarify. So let's go into this part right here.
It's just a dream, just a dream, just a crazy dream, just a dream, just a dream. Can't take it anymore.
Yeah, so that guitar solo is pretty wild. It's ripping. Let's go ahead and solo this. Now you can really hear. Let me open up the EQ again so we can kind of see what's going on with this right up here. So you can really hear like when he does like the pinch harmonics on some of the notes, and then with those really high bends towards the end, or those high notes towards the end, at regular volume without this like really sharp cut right here at 3.74. That's like super shrill and piercing on the ears. And again, at high volume, I mean, at that point you're causing harm and you're fatiguing the ears well beyond what they need to be fatigued at. So we had to kind of compromise on the volume, knock it down almost 7 decibels, and just kind of gradually raise it back up to be to that like that ripping little bend there at the end with the delay, and then let the EQ kind of do its thing and kind of cut things down just a little bit to provide a little bit of relief for the ears while maintaining the integrity of the guitar solo. So this guitar solo probably took the most time on this track in specific, besides going through and hand jamming all the volume gates on like in the beginning. Yeah, let's listen to that back one more time with the full band, so you can really like there's volume gates up here too, and then yeah, here we go.
Can't take it anymore.
And the one last thing I want to talk about this guitar solo is like with the volume gates here, right as that like vibrato part with the delay comes in, I really think that just adds a really cool bookend to the guitar solo. And we get that slight tail, and we go right back into the end of the song. And let's just play this out to the end. that was Mr. Larry. I appreciate you for sticking around and checking this out. If you liked what you saw, please tell me what you liked. If you didn't like any of this, please tell me what I could do to do better. And we're moving along. This is video number 4 out of the series. We got a couple more left, I do believe. And yeah, so stay tuned. Keep on pressing through the playlist. If you haven't seen the first 3 episodes, please go back and check those out too. They're also fantastic songs in their own right. Yeah, and my name is Tyler Walton from Tyler Walton Music. I hope you had a great time. I hope you're having a good day today. I hope you're happy, healthy, and well, and I'll see you soon. Stay safe.